The sun was setting over Nova Base, a quiet human outpost on the edge of known space. Soldiers stood on guard, watching the sky. The outpost was small, home to only a few hundred troops. Most of them were young men and women from Earth, sent to protect trade routes and peaceful colonies. Among them was Leo, a simple soldier with no rank and no special skills. He followed orders, cleaned weapons, and did his duty. Life on Nova Base was boring, and Leo liked it that way. He did not want fame, medals, or trouble. He just wanted peace. That peace broke in a single moment. The sky flashed. Two massive starships came down from the clouds. They were nothing like human ships. Their bodies shined like polished glass, floating without sound. Strange symbols glowed. On their sides, the soldiers ran to their stations. Alarms screamed. The commanders called for battle stations. Leo grabbed his rifle and rushed to the wall. His hand shook as he looked up. The ships hovered over the base, silent and still. Then two beams of light shot down to the ground. From each beam stepped a tall figure. The first was a young woman with shining silver hair and skin like soft crystal. Her eyes were deep blue, glowing softly. She wore a long coat of bright armor, thin but strong. The second was just as tall but with dark golden hair and green eyes that burned like emeralds. She wore the same armor but with a different symbol on her chest. They both looked young and beautiful, yet there was something powerful in their steps, like queens walking into a throne room. They did not look at the soldiers. They walked straight to the center of the base. The soldiers stared in shock. The two alien women stopped before the command post. The human commander, Major Ren, stepped out, his face calm but his hand on his pistol. He opened his mouth to speak, but the silver-haired woman spoke first. I am Princess Mira, daughter of the High Queen of the Zither Empire. Then the golden-haired one spoke. I am Princess Zira, sister of Mira, and heir of the Zither Empire. They spoke perfect human language, their voices smooth and clear. The soldiers around the command post froze. Some dropped their weapons in surprise. The Zither Empire was known across the stars as a mighty power. Their empire ruled hundreds of worlds, but never before had their royal family come to a human base. Before the commander could reply, both princesses turned their eyes to Leo. You, said Mira. You, said Zira at the same time. Leo blinked. He pointed at himself. Me, yes, Mira said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes held something strange, something between challenge and kindness. I have come for you. Zira stepped forward. And so have I the crowd around them? Gasped. Major Ren looked between the princesses and Leo. Excuse me, ladies, but why him? Mira spoke. He saved the life most dear to me. Zira nodded. And to me? Leo stared at them. His mind raced. Save them? He had never met these women before. He was sure of it. How could this be possible? The commander cleared his throat. Forgive me, princesses, but this soldier is under human command. If you wish to meet him, we can arrange a talk, perhaps in the hall. Mira shook her head. There will be no simple talk. Zira raised her chin. There will be a duel. The words struck the crowd like a thunderbolt. Major Ren took a step back. A duel? Mira spoke again. In our empire, when two sisters desire the same companion, they settle it with honor, a duel of skill. The winner takes the right to offer her heart. Zira folded her arms. And I will not lose. Leo's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The soldiers around him began whispering. Some stared at him with wide eyes. Others looked at the princesses with awe. Major Ren tried to speak calmly. Princesses, we do not allow such fights on our grounds. This is a peace station. We do not follow your customs here. Mira nodded. We respect your laws. That is why we asked to hold the duel outside your walls. At sunrise, Zira added, we need no help. Just a field, our blades, and his presence. The commander looked at Leo. The young soldier stood frozen, his rifle in his hand. Sweat on his face. Leo, Ren asked, do you have any idea what this is about? Leo shook his head. No, sir. Mira smiled softly. You will remember. Soon. Zira gave a small grin. And when you do, you will know why we fight. Major Ren sighed. Very well, but no harm is to come to him or our people. Mira nodded. Agreed. Zira nodded too. We give our word. With that, the princesses turned and walked away, side by side. Their steps calm and sure. The crowd parted for them like a river round to stones. The soldiers watched in stunned silence as the alien princesses left the base. Their starship still waiting in the sky. Leo stood still, his heart pounding in his chest. He had no idea what was happening, but one thing was sure: his quiet life was over. The night air over Nova Base felt heavy. Soldiers spoke in low voices, glancing often at the skies where the two alien starships still floated. The campfires burned low, casting long shadows. Everyone talked about one thing: the two princesses, and the strange challenge they had declared. In the command tent, Major Ren sat with his officers. None of them could believe what had happened. The Zither princesses had walked into their base and declared a duel over a human soldier. It sounded like a story from an old tale, not something real. Yet it had happened right before their eyes. At the edge of the camp, Leo sat on a supply crate, staring at the ground. His rifle lay beside him. He could still hear the voices of the princesses in his head. I have come for you, and so have I. He rubbed his hands together. His heart beat fast. He felt like a simple man trapped inside a dream he could not escape. A shadow moved near him. Tom, his fellow soldier and closest friend, sat down beside him. So, Tom said, trying to sound calm, you're famous now. Leo gave a weak smile. I didn't ask for this. Tom leaned forward. Do you even know them? Leo shook his head. I swear I don't. I've never seen them before. Tom gave a low whistle. They both say you saved someone important to them. That's no joke. Leo thought hard. He remembered a mission 6 months ago. His team had rescued a traveler from raiders on a distant colony. The woman they saved never gave her name and vanished soon after. Could that be the person? Before he could speak, a trumpet sounded. The sound echoed across the camp. Soldiers jumped to their feet. Tom and Leo stood up. A large group of soldiers gathered near the parade ground. The human officers stood in front, and beside them stood the two princesses, Mira with her silver hair and Zira with her golden locks. They both looked calm, their faces without fear. Major Ren stepped forward. He raised his hand for silence, by the customs of their people. The princesses wish to speak before all of us, the major said. We have allowed it. Listen with respect. Mira stepped forward first. Her voice was clear as water. I am Princess Mira of Zither. I come here in peace. But I also come to make a rightful claim. By our ancient law, once a royal sisters desire the same heart, they must prove their worth in combat. I have chosen to challenge my sister for the right to offer my heart to this man, Leo. She turned her eyes toward Leo. For a moment, everything felt still. Zira walked forward next. Her voice held a soft power. I am Princess Zira of Zither. I do not step aside from a challenge. If my sister wishes to claim the heart of this man, she must earn it, and so must I. Our duel will be fair. Our duel will be honest. Let it be. Tomorrow, at sunrise, outside the walls of this camp, with honor, with skill, and without hatred. The soldiers stood silent. Some exchanged glances. Others stared at Leo. Major Ren cleared his throat. And the human soldier at the center of this, does he have a say? Mira and Zira turned their eyes to Leo. Leo felt a wave of heat rise in his face. He stepped forward, trying to find words. I am just a soldier, he said. I don't know why this is happening. I don't want anyone to get hurt because of me. Mira gave a soft smile. No harm will come. This is our way. We fight for honor, not for anger. Zira nodded. You have saved a life we both hold dear. We cannot ignore that. Leo opened his mouth but found no words. He felt the eyes of every soldier on him. Major Ren spoke firmly. Then the duel will happen outside our walls. But I want your word no harm will come to this man or our people. Mira bowed her head. You have my word. Zira bowed too. And mine. The major looked at Leo. Stay close tonight. No wandering off. Leo nodded. Yes, sir. The gathering ended. The soldiers went back to their posts. whispering among themselves. Some looked excited, others looked nervous. Leo turned to go back to his tent. But before he could move, Mira and Zira both walked toward him. He froze in place. Mira stood on his right. Zira stood on his left. Both looked at him with soft eyes. Mira spoke first. I do not wish to scare you, but I will not step back from this. I want to win, and I hope you will accept me when I do. Zira spoke next. I feel the same. I do not fight because I hate her. I fight because I believe you are worth it. Leo's heart pounded. He swallowed hard. Why me? Mira touched her hand to her heart. Because you did what no warrior of our world dared. You saved my mother when others ran. Zira nodded. And you asked for nothing in return. You risked your life for a stranger. Leo felt his mind spin. Was that traveler really their mother, the queen of a galactic empire? He remembered only a woman in a dark cloak, running from raiders. Begging for help, Mira and Zira both gave him a small smile. Then, as one, they turned and walked away toward their ships. Leo stood alone in the dark. His world had changed in a single day, and tomorrow, at sunrise, two royal sisters would fight for him. He had no idea how to stop it. The first light of dawn touched the sky above Nova Base. The air was cool and still. A soft mist floated over the empty field outside the camp. The ground was flat and wide, perfect for a duel. Human soldiers stood in silent rows along the edge of the field. None spoke. They had come to watch something they never thought they would see. Two alien princesses fighting for the heart of one human soldier. In the middle of the crowd stood Leo, his face pale. His hands stayed tight at his sides. He wore no armor and carried no weapon. Round him were soldiers from every corner of the base. Some gave him nervous looks, others smiled or whispered quietly. Tom, his friend, stood beside him. You all right? Tom asked. Leo shook his head. I don't know. Tom gave him a pat on the shoulder. Just don't faint. That would make it worse. Leo forced a small smile, though inside his heart raced. On the other side of the field stood Major Wren with a group of officers. They stood as guards, making sure the duel stayed under control. The major had given clear orders no one would interfere. The duel had to stay fair and safe. Then came a sound, a low hum. Two figures walked onto the field from opposite sides. Mira, the princess with silver hair, walked slowly toward the center. She wore slim armor that gleamed like polished glass. A long sword hung at her side, shining with a soft blue light. Her face was calm, her steps sure. From the other side came Zira, the princess with golden hair. She wore armor of dark gold, smooth and strong. Her sword glowed with a soft green light. Her eyes stayed fixed on her sister. They met in the middle of the field, standing a few feet apart. The soldiers held their breath. The air seemed to stop moving. Mira spoke first. We fight for honor. We fight for respect, not for anger. Zira answered, we fight by our law, and may the worthy heart win. They both drew their swords. The blades hummed softly, glowing with light. They raised them high in salute. Then, as if by silent agreement, they began. The first clash of swords rang out like thunder. Sparks flew as blade met blade. The princesses moved with speed and skill beyond anything the human soldiers had ever seen. Mira spun low, striking at Zira's side. Zira blocked and stepped back, answering with a sharp thrust. Mira turned aside just in time, her silver hair flying. They circled each other, blades flashing in the morning light. Every move was fast, smooth, and full of power. Leo watched with wide eyes. He had seen many fights in training, but nothing like this. The princesses fought with the grace of dancers and the force of warriors. They moved like water, flowing from strike to block to counter. The soldiers around the field watched in stunned silence. Even the officers stood still, their hands resting on their weapons, in case of danger. But there was no danger to anyone but the princesses. They fought with skill, not rage. Each strike was controlled. Each move had meaning. Mira lunged forward, her sword slicing through the air. Zira ducked, rolling aside, then came up with a sweep of her own. Mira blocked, and the blades locked. For a moment, Their eyes met sister to sister. Then they broke apart and fought on. Leo felt his heart pound harder with every strike. He wanted to shout, to run forward, to stop them. But he knew it would be wrong. This was their way. This was their choice. The duel went on for long minutes. Both princesses showed no sign of slowing. Sweat beaded on their faces. Their armor caught the sunlight with every move. Then came a sharp cry. Zira made a bold strike, her sword sweeping low. Mira stepped back, but not far enough. The tip of Zira's blade caught Mira's side. The soldiers gasped. Mira stumbled but did not fall. She touched her side, looked at the faint mark, and nodded. You struck me, Mira said. Zira lowered her sword. Do you yield? Mira shook her head. No. With sudden speed, Mira rushed forward. She struck with a powerful swing that knocked Zira's sword aside. In the same move, she spun and kicked Zira back. Zira fell to one knee, catching herself with her hand. The soldiers cried out in surprise. But Mira did not press her attack. She stood still, her sword pointed to the ground. Her face showed no pride, only respect. Zira looked up at her sister, then slowly stood. They stared at each other in silence. Finally, Mira spoke softly. We are sisters first, always. Zira gave a small nod, and I will not forget that. Mira lowered her sword. Then this duel is over. Zira dropped her sword too. It is. The soldiers broke into cheers. The sound echoed over the field. Leo felt his legs go weak with relief. He let out a long breath he did not know he had been holding. The two princesses turned to him. They walked side by side, both calm, both proud. They stopped in front of Leo. Mira spoke first. We have fought with honor, Zira added, and with respect. Mira's eyes met Leo's. But our story does not end here. Zira smiled softly. There's more you must know. Leo opened his mouth, but before he could speak, Major Wren stepped forward. I think we all want to hear it, the Major said. Mira and Zira nodded. They turned toward the camp, their heads high. Leo followed, his heart filled with questions. The duel was over, but the real story was just beginning. The sun climbed higher as the crowd returned to Nova Base. The duel had ended, but the camp was still full of whispers. Soldiers talked in hushed voices about the skill of the princesses, the strange duel, and the human soldier who stood at the center of it all. Leo walked beside Mira and Zira, his heart still pounding. He felt like a small stone caught in the middle of a storm. Every soldier who passed gave him a look, some curious, some full of wonder. Inside the command tent, Major Wren waited with his officers. The two princesses stepped inside with Leo right behind them. The Major gave a polite nod. I think it's time you both tell us why you came for this man, Wren said. His voice was calm but firm. Mira stepped forward. Her silver hair fell gently over her shoulder. Her deep blue eyes looked straight at the Major. It began 6 months ago, Mira said. Our mother, the queen of the Zither Empire, left her palace in secret. She was seeking a rare healing stone from a distant colony. Few knew about it. Even we were told only days after she left. Zira picked up the story. But on her way back, her ship was attacked by rebel raiders. They hunted her through a wild sector near your border. Her guards were killed. Her ship was damaged. Leo frowned as a strange memory stirred inside him. Mira nodded. She landed on a trade post to hide, wearing a dark cloak to cover her face. There, a group of raiders tried to capture her. They thought she was a traveler, until one man stepped in. Zira turned her eyes to Leo. That man was you? The tent fell silent. Leo felt his throat tighten. Mira's voice softened. You fought them alone. You stood between her and danger. You took a knife for her. And when the raiders fled, you did not ask her name. You gave her water. You helped fix her ship. Then you walked away. Zira smiled gently. She never forgot your face. And when we learned who had saved her, we swore we would find you. Leo's heart pounded. He remembered now. The dark-haired woman with kind eyes, the sharp fight in the alley, the wound on his arm. He had thought she was just a traveler in trouble. She was your mother, Leo whispered. Mira nodded. Yes. Major Ren stared at Leo. You never told anyone. Leo shook his head. I didn't know who she was. I thought I was just helping someone. Zira spoke softly. And that is why we came. You did what no great warrior of our empire dared. You saved a life, without seeking reward. In our eyes, that makes you worthy. Mira looked at him with a soft smile. Worthy of honor, and perhaps even more. Leo felt the world spinning around him. He had only done what felt right. Now the princesses stood before him, speaking of honor and worth. Major Ren cleared his throat. With all respect, princesses. Saving a life does not mean a man belongs to someone. Our people do not trade hearts for good deeds. Mira gave a gentle nod. We understand. That is why we chose the duel, not to claim him as a prize, but to prove our respect for his courage. To show him we are serious. Zira looked at Leo. But the choice will always be his. Leo met their eyes. He saw no pride, no greed, no anger, only respect, and maybe something deeper. I'm just a soldier, Leo said softly. I'm no prince. I'm no hero. Mira stepped closer. But you are a man with a heart brave enough to protect a stranger, and that means more than any title. Zira nodded. That is why we came ourselves, not as princesses, but as two souls seeking another. Leo felt a strange warmth in his chest. These were not proud rulers demanding loyalty. They were sisters showing respect for a man they believed worthy. Major Ren folded his arms. So, what happens now? Mira smiled. Now, we stay here for a while. We will protect this base with you. We have no wish to bring more trouble. But we will wait and hope to earn a place in this man's heart. Zira gave a soft smile. If he will allow it. Leo gave a slow nod. His mind was still full of questions, but he knew one thing: he could not turn away from them with coldness. You can stay, Leo said quietly. I won't stop you. Mira's eyes sparkled. Thank you. Zira gave a small bow. We are honored. Major Ren gave a sharp nod. Then you are guests of this camp, and we will welcome you as friends. But I expect no more surprises. Mira and Zira both nodded. No more surprises. The meeting ended. The princesses left the tent, walking side by side. Soldiers moved aside for them, watching in silent wonder. Leo followed slowly. Tom caught up to him. You really saved there. Mother, Tom asked, his eyes wide. Leo gave a small smile. Looks like it. Tom shook his head. And here I thought you were just a quiet guy who cleaned rifles. Leo chuckled softly. So did I that night. The camp settled down. The stars shone bright over Nova Base. Soldiers sat around fires, sharing stories about the duel and the princesses. And far from the camp, two royal sisters sat together on a hill. Mira looked up at the stars. Do you think he will choose? Zira smiled softly. I think he will choose when his heart is ready. Mira nodded. And until then we wait. Zira took a deep breath. Yes, we wait. The sun rose again over Nova Base, casting a soft light over the dusty ground. The mood inside the camp had changed. Soldiers no longer whispered about the duel or the princesses in secret. Now, they openly watched Mira and Zira as they moved. Among them, the two princesses no longer stayed inside their ships. They walked around the base like guests, speaking kindly to the soldiers, watching the training drills, and even helping repair damaged equipment. Their soft words and respectful manners won the hearts of many, but not all. Some soldiers wondered why the sisters had stayed. Others feared that their presence might bring trouble. In the center of it all stood Leo, caught between two worlds. He trained during the day as always, cleaned weapons, and took his turns on guard duty. Yet everywhere he went, the eyes of the princesses followed him. They spoke to him with calm voices, never pushing, never asking for anything, but their quiet smiles, soft words, and kind glances filled his heart with questions. One afternoon, after a long day of training, Leo sat alone under a tree near the edge of the base. The sky above was clear. He felt the cool breeze on his face. Footsteps approached. He looked up. Mira stood there, holding a small metal flower, a rare token from her world. She sat down beside him. May I join you? Leo nodded. Of course, Mira placed the flower on the ground between them. Its silver petals caught the light for a moment. Neither spoke. Then Mira said softly, I want to thank you, not for saving my mother, but for not turning your heart away from us. Leo looked at her. I'm not sure I know what my heart is doing. Mira gave a gentle smile. That is honest, and I respect that. She stood up again, gave him a small bow, and walked away, leaving the flower behind. Leo watched her go, feeling a strange warmth inside. Before he could gather his thoughts, soft steps came again. This time, Zira appeared, holding a thin book. In her hands, she smiled. I heard you enjoy reading about stars. Leo blinked. Yes, I do. Zira sat beside him, placed the book in his hands. The title was written in her language, but inside, every page had human words carefully written under the alien ones. I translated it myself. Zira said, It speaks of the stars beyond our worlds. Leo felt a lump in his throat. Thank you. Zira gave a soft smile. I wanted you to know, even if you never choose me, I still want you to know our world. She stood, gave him a small bow, and walked away. Leo sat there, holding the book, his heart full of questions. That night, he lay awake in his bunk, staring at the ceiling. The faces of Mira and Zira filled his mind. They had shown him kindness, respect, and friendship, but he also knew they had come for something more. He sat up in bed. He knew what he had to do. The next morning, Leo walked straight to Major Wren's office. I need permission to speak to the princesses, Leo said. His voice was steady. The major looked up. You sure? Leo nodded. Yes, sir. Wren gave a short nod. All right, they're waiting by the command post. Leo walked out into the bright morning. Mira and Zira stood side by side near the main building, talking softly. Soldiers nearby watched in silence as Leo approached. When he stood before them, both princesses turned toward him with gentle smiles. Leo took a deep breath. I want to speak. Please, listen. Mira nodded. We are listening. Zira gave a soft smile. Say what is in your heart. Leo met their eyes. His voice was firm. You are both strong, brave, and kind. You showed me respect. You never forced me. You never treated me like a prize. For that, I am thankful. Mira watched him closely. Zira stood still, her eyes soft. Leo continued. But I cannot let this go on without speaking the truth. He looked at both of them. I do not want you to fight for me. I do not want you to wait for me as if I am something to be won. You are both more than warriors. You are more than princesses. You are people, with hearts and dreams of your own. Mira's eyes widened slightly. Zira took a quiet breath. Leo finished, and I am a man with my own heart. I respect you both, but I will not stand in silence while you risk your bond as sisters over me. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Mira stepped forward. She placed her hand over her heart. You are right. We came here thinking this was the right way, but we see now. You are not a prize to be claimed. Zira gave a soft nod. We were wrong, and we are sorry. Leo felt a weight lift from his chest. He gave a small smile. Mira smiled too. We will not fight for you again, Zira added, but we still wish to stand beside you, as friends. Leo nodded. I would like that, very much. The three of them stood there in quiet peace. Nearby, the soldiers gave soft smiles and returned to their duties. Major Wren watched from a distance, giving a small nod of approval. Leo knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was wide, and their story was far from over. But for now, they had made peace with each other and with their hearts. The days after Leo's bold words passed in calm peace. The mood in Nova Base grew better. The soldiers smiled when they saw the princesses. The tension that once filled the air was gone. Mira, Zira, and Leo spent many hours talking together. They walked along the walls of the base, shared meals with the soldiers, and even trained side by side. They spoke of their worlds, their people, and their dreams. Mira taught Leo the language of her people. Zira showed him how to read the star maps of distant galaxies. In return, Leo told them stories about life on Earth, simple things like forests, rivers, and rain. For the first time, they were not a soldier and two princesses. They were friends, but peace never stays forever. It happened one night as the stars shone brightly above the camp. Leo and Tom were on night watch at the north wall. The air was cool, and all seemed quiet. Then they saw a sharp flash of red light in the sky. Leo raised his binoculars. His heart stopped. Dark shapes moved across the sky. Ships, black as night, flying fast toward the base. They had no lights, no friendly signals. Tom whispered, "That's not good." Alarms rang across Nova Base. Soldiers rushed out of their tents, weapons ready. Major Wren appeared at the command post, shouting orders. Leo ran straight to the main gate. Mira and Zira were already there, dressed in light battle armor. "They are not ours," Mira said. Her voice sharp. Zira nodded. "Rebel raiders, the ones who once tried to capture our mother." Leo's heart pounded. "They followed you here." Mira shook her head. "Not us. They want revenge on you." Before Leo could speak, a loud blast hit the ground near the wall. The earth shook. Smoke filled the air. The enemy ships opened fire. Bright beams shot toward the base. Explosions lit up the dark sky. The soldiers fought back. Cannons roared from the towers. Laser rifles fired from every wall. The rebel raiders landed outside the camp, hundreds of them pouring out of their ships in black armor. They charged with weapons glowing red. Leo grabbed his rifle. He stood beside Mira and Zira at the main gate. "We hold the gate," Mira said firmly. Zira smiled. Together, Leo nodded. "I'm with you." The first wave of enemies reached the walls. The battle began. Leo fired his rifle, his heart racing. The rebel soldiers came fast, shouting in harsh voices. But the human soldiers stood firm. Mira fought like a storm. Her sword flashed in the dark, cutting through enemy lines. Zira moved with the speed of light, her blade striking with perfect aim. Leo fought beside them, shooting with steady hands. For the first time, he saw the true power of the princesses, not just warriors, but protectors. Major Wren called over the radio, "Hold your ground. Reinforcements are on the way." But the enemy kept coming. The rebels pushed hard toward the gate. Leo stood at the front with Mira and Zira. They fought side by side, covering each other, trusting each other. A rebel captain charged toward Leo, a blade raised high. Before the enemy could strike, Mira blocked the attack and pushed the rebel back. "You're not alone," Mira said with a smile. Leo gave her a quick nod. Another group of rebels tried to flank them. Zira moved in fast, cutting them down before they reached the gate. "You're safe with us," Zira said. The battle raged on. The ground shook under the blasts. Smoke and fire filled the air. But Leo did not feel fear. He felt something else, strength. He fought not just as a soldier, but as a friend standing beside those who believed in him. The enemy tried again and again, but the defenders held strong. Then, from the skies, a loud roar echoed. Mira looked up. "Our fleet." A wave of shining ships appeared in the sky. They carried the royal mark of the Zither Empire. They opened fire on the rebel ships, breaking their lines. The rebel soldiers below saw their fleet falling. They began to retreat. Major Wren shouted, "Push forward." Leo, Mira, and Zira charged together, driving the enemies back. The battle ended as fast as it began. The rebels ran back to their ships, trying to escape. The Zither fleet chased them across the sky. The soldiers of Nova Base stood tall, weapons still in hand. The ground was littered with broken weapons and damaged armor, but they had won. Mira turned to Leo. "You fought bravely." Zira smiled. "You showed the heart we always believed in." Leo looked around at the soldiers cheering and hugging each other. His heart swelled with pride. "I wasn't alone," Leo said. "We fought together." Mira nodded. "Yes, and we always will." Major Wren walked over, his face serious, but his eyes shining with respect. "That was a good fight, soldier." Leo gave a firm nod. "Thank you, sir." Wren smiled. "You've got good friends." Leo looked at Mira and Zira. "Yes, I do." That night, Nova Base was quiet again. The fires burned softly, and the stars shone bright. Mira, Zira, and Leo stood together on the hill outside the camp, looking at the sky. You didn't have to fight, Leo said softly. Mira shook her head. We wanted to. Zira smiled. Because we believe in you. Leo looked at them and smiled. For the first time, he felt something clear in his heart. They were not just royal guests or strong warriors. They were his friends, and together, they had faced a storm and won. The morning after the battle felt peaceful. The sky over Nova Base was clear, and the sun cast a soft golden light on the ground. The rebel raiders were gone. Their ships had been chased far beyond the borders by the Zither fleet. But inside the camp, another kind of battle was ending, a silent one inside Leo's heart. He stood at the edge of the training ground, watching the soldiers rebuild damaged walls and clean the field. The princesses had stayed with them through the night, helping without rest. Leo looked at his hands. He had fought beside Mira and Zira, seen their strength, and felt their loyalty. They stood with him in the worst of times, not as royals, but as true friends. And now, he knew the moment had come. He turned and walked toward the main square. His heart beat fast, but not with fear, with a feeling stronger than anything he had known before. Near the center of the camp, Mira and Zira stood. Together, they were talking softly. When they saw Leo coming toward them, they both smiled. Leo stopped a few steps away. He took a slow breath. I have something to say, Leo said. Mira gave a soft nod. We're listening. Zira smiled gently. Speak freely. Leo met their eyes. When you first came here, I was afraid. I thought I didn't belong in your world. I thought you were too high, too far from me. He looked at Mira. I thought you were a warrior who only wanted to win a fight. Then he turned to Zira. And I thought you were a fighter who only wanted to prove herself. Mira's smile stayed calm. Zira's eyes softened. Leo shook his head slightly. But I was wrong. You both showed me your true hearts. You came here not to claim me, but to stand beside me. You fought for me, not as a prize, but as a friend. You stood by me when danger came. And for that, I will always honor you both. Mira and Zira listened in silence. Leo's voice stayed strong. I cannot choose between you because you are both important to me. And I will not ask you to fight for my heart again. Mira stepped forward. We understand. Zira nodded. We respect your choice. Leo smiled gently. But I also know that friendship is where the strongest bond begins. He looked at Mira. I see your heart. You are a leader, full of wisdom and courage. I am proud to call you my friend. Then he turned to Zira. And I see your heart. You are fierce, loyal, and kind. I am honored to call you my friend. The princesses both smiled. Leo took a step closer. I will walk this road beside both of you as your friend, and if in time the heart shows a deeper path, we will know it together. Mira placed her hand over her heart. That is all we ever wanted, to stand with you. Zira placed her hand on her heart as well, to walk beside you, without force, without fear. Leo gave a soft smile. Then we have found something better than a prize or a victory. We have found trust. The three of them stood together in quiet peace. Behind them, the soldiers of Nova Base watched with soft smiles. They had seen many battles, but this quiet moment felt like a victory of its own kind. Major Wren walked over, his arms crossed, a rare smile on his face. I don't know what you said, soldier, but you've earned the respect, and mine. Leo gave a firm nod. Thank you, sir. Wren gave a small nod. You've shown this base that true strength comes from the heart. Mira turned to the major, and from friends who stand together. Zira smiled. Always. That night, the camp gathered for a quiet feast. Soldiers shared food, stories, and laughter. The sky above was clear, stars shining bright. Mira sat with Leo and Zira around a soft fire. They spoke of their worlds, their hopes, and their future. Tom joined them, laughing as he shared stories of Leo's quiet bravery. Even Major Wren stopped by, giving a rare toast in honor of friendship and peace. As the fire burned low, Mira looked at Leo. You know, there are many worlds yet unseen. Leo smiled, and many stories yet untold. Zira gave a soft laugh. Maybe we will discover them together. Leo nodded. I'd like that. In that quiet moment, under the endless sky, three friends sat together not as a soldier and two princesses, but as equals. And though the stars above shone on countless worlds for them, this was the beginning of something far greater than any battle or crown. It was the beginning of a bond stronger than war, deeper than titles, and lasting beyond the stars, the end.